I was told, you go to the continent and you speak your language, you get your education and all of this other kind of stuff. And, you're talking all of these big words that we don't understand. And when you come home, you don't talk to us. You talk down to us. But you know what, sis? We know where you came from. Do you remember where you're from?
Welcome to Lonely at the Top, a podcast for high-level leaders carrying the invisible weight of the world. Because the higher you rise, the fewer people you can safely talk to. Here we welcome founders, executives, and decision makers who feel the isolation and pressure that comes with power. Lonely at the Top is your sanctuary in the storm, and I'm your host, executive coach and former psychotherapist, Rachel Alexandria. Today on the podcast, for the second time, but the first time for all of you, we have Dr. Gerry Ebalaroza-Tunnell, affectionately known as Dr. G. She's a native Hawaiian scholar, wayfinder, and founder of CO3, co-creating cohesive communities. Grounded in ALOHA, which is an acronym, and guided by purpose, she weaves indigenous wisdom with systems thinking to help leaders and communities navigate complexity with clarity, courage, and pilina. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Okay. And pilina, which is a word for relationship. An adjunct professor, oral historian, and award-winning author, Dr. G invites others to lead in ways that honor people, place, and the relationships that sustain us. Gerry, I am so excited that we get to do this so that we can actually put it out to the audience. We had some irreconcilable tech difficulties that we didn't realize until after we finished the recording last time. And my VA who helps out, shout out to Anita, said, you got to do this one again. It was such a good conversation. So no pressure. We have to.
Well,
anyway, welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me back.
So we have known each other like sort of, very loose ties, right? I'm trying to remember, and I probably talked about it last time, but now I don't remember. How did we originally meet? Do you know?
I think we met at a networking event that Tracy Warren put out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. And that was a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. Shout out Tracy Warren. I don't know if she listens, but I think occasionally she might. A great gal in Seattle. And are you still in Seattle too?
I'm actually east of Seattle. I'm in Bothell. So gotcha. Yeah, I'm on the other side of the lake. But yeah, I'm still here. I mean, Washington, it's beautiful, right? It's beautiful here. I love being around the trees and the mountains and the ocean. And, it's like, I don't know. I think this is some place where, besides back home in Hawaii, this place is pretty cool. So yeah. I'm still here.
Okay. Well, I remember I wanted to have you on the podcast because you have such an interesting story and the experience of being in charge and being in rarefied air. I just like everyone's perspective is different, right? Everyone has a unique experience. And you've been sharing on social media for quite a long time about the process of getting your PhD and where that's taken you. When I invited you to be on the show, Lonely at the Top, did you have a resonance with this experience of ascending and then being in that rarefied space that was also some isolation for you?
Yeah, but it's also multi-layered as well too, right? Is being a leader, being in this position, being a woman of color, being from Hawaii, living here, living in the diaspora, right? There's all of these multiple layers to that I have to work through. And so sometimes there's spaces where it's like, do I really belong here? And then there's other spaces where it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is where I belong. But do the rest of us feel like this is where we belong, right? So it's like there's all of these different layers to feeling this isolation. But I think what is important is, and I had to get to this point, is knowing who I am, you know? And that took a lot. That took a lot to get to this place, you know? It's like I suffered a lot from imposter syndrome, right? It's like working extra hard and doing things to where it's like, you know, I'm going to make sure that they understand my value, that they know my worth. And, you know, and so I would work so hard. And then, you know, it's like realizing that the next generation is also watching and asking myself, you know, what am I mirroring for the next generation? And so I needed to sit with that as well too, in its place of deep self-reflection on asking myself, what kind of ancestor am I going to be? Are they going to look at me and feel like, yeah, you know what? Dr. G did this. You know, she busted her ass and she worked hard and she did this and she did that and all of these things. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, and so I had to think about those things. I had to think about being in organizations and institutions where their goal was to remove my breath, work me until I couldn't work anymore, or have an environment where it is so toxic. It is so toxic that you have to make a decision. How do I thrive and survive? Am I going to stick with this place that is tearing me apart, removing my breath because I need to survive, because I need the money? Right? That's just, it's like, ugh, it just feels so, it feels so yucky. And so, you know, I had to be in those spaces. I had to be in those spaces and I had to make those decisions. And those decisions that's hard because it's not just affecting you, it's affecting your whole entire family, your lifestyle, right? You remove the money, you have to like change your lifestyle. And how are you going to do that?
So what I'm hearing from your story, just like as you talk about it in broad strokes, is that you had to make the choice of moving away from something that maybe had more money, more prestige, more power, but was killing you, into choosing yourself. I mean, that sounds like a leadership decision that really tested you. Can you tell us a little bit more about this story?
Yeah. So I guess, you know, it didn't happen all at once, right? It showed up as fatigue. It showed up as saying yes to things when I should have said no. It was wrapped in an imposter syndrome and this feeling that I had to constantly prove my value. And it was from the outside, I feel like a lot of people looked at it as, you know, this is leadership. This is leadership. But inside, I felt like my soul was dying. My spirit was dying because you can have a title. You can hold the title. But if the work is not being done because you have powers above you that is stopping you from doing the true work of what this title is supposed to hold, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And you have other people, you know, especially in the world where, you know, we don't want to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Because those things don't happen, right? It's like, we don't need
I want to talk about those things, but yes, there is an administrative policy right now of, trying to prevent talking about what's real. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And in that moment, you know, it's like, you can see people are suffering. You can see, you know, all of these things, these inequities that is happening in this world. And when you look like this, like me, and the people that are suffering are the ones that look like me, and I'm in a place of power and positionality, I better be able to hold that space of leadership and love, you know? And it's like a love for my people, for my culture. And
yeah,
ooh, I gotta take a moment to breathe here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some powerful conviction running through this story. we didn't talk about this ahead of time. Is this something that you can name with specifics, or is it something that you would prefer remains unnamed?
You know, people
Either's
who know
fine.
me, yeah, exactly. People who know me, they know, right?
Okay.
And if you people want to know, they can look it up. It's all over the place. But I just feel that I'm coming to this place where I'm really careful with my words. I'm really
Mm.
careful with what my breath is going to exhale into spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is a name or something that I just don't want it to slip from my tongue,
Mm. Yeah.
because it is undeserving of my breath, is what I'm saying.
I mean, that's a lovely way to say it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to like pour any tea here, that people don't want poured. But yeah, so that makes sense to me. So you made the decision to step away from a position of power where you had hoped to be well representing people who look like you and helping them. But because of the situation at hand, you had said yes to some things that weren't actually serving. And so you made the executive decision to step away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. I love the way that you
Yeah.
just kind of like sum that up. Beautiful, beautiful. Because I'm such a storyteller, right? So it's like I've got to go
I
through all
love
the
that.
details, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Well, you kind of need both. You know what I mean? I think
Hmm.
storytellers are incredibly important. I love that oral storyteller is now in your bio. That's fantastic because that's so important. That I can feel the ancestral connection to that. And that's also something that cannot we were talking about AI before we started this show. It's something that can't be replaced by AI. At
Right.
least
Oh
not
my
yet,
gosh. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Because there is an energy when you are in front of another human being, right? So I think I shared this with you before about the word aloha. A lot
Mm.
of people understand aloha to just be a greeting of hello and goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And it means so much more than that because when you are in the presence of someone else, that is alo. And like we are doing right now, face to face, even though we're online, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that our words transfer to each other through breath. And that's
Mm-hmm.
ha, ha, the breath of life, aloha. So you are in the presence of breath. And breath signifies life. Life is sacred. So should our words. And not just the words that we say to each other, but the words that we say to ourselves, the words that become policies, the words that become laws, right? This is sacred, right? It's like
Yeah.
if life is sacred, so should our words and everything that it creates. And so I'm very careful on that. There's so much power in words. Words can words can tear a person down. They can build them up, just like with the country. One word,
Mm.
one word. And people throw their words out like nothing. And that's how we
Mm.
hurt one another. And also, it's like when we are in conversation, we definitely are going to say things that's going to sting because truth isn't always like coddling, right? Truth sometimes really hurts.
Yeah.
It really hurts. But we have to also ask ourselves, if something is hurting me, it's not the other person's fault. I need to be able to think and reflect on the fact that it's like, if this is hurting me, what is not healed? Why is it
Mm.
that I hurt so much when it's touched by a word? So we
Mm.
also have to ask ourselves, it's like, what traumas have we not dealt with instead of constantly looking outside?
Yeah, I think what I hear you saying, and I agree with, is to be a truly good leader, you get to work to prevent harm by what you let slip through your breath to other people. And when you hear things from other people, you get to mitigate harm by choosing how to process what they have sent to you.
Yes. Yes. That's aloha. That's the guiding
Mm.
principles of aloha. So the first letter in aloha, A, that's to ask questions. And asking questions is so foundational because it begins the relationship, right? Just being able to inquire and be curious about the next person, right? That is sitting in front of you. And then the L is to listen, to really listen. Listen, listen, so in that way you can understand and you can learn. But a lot of times we don't do that. When we ask questions and we listen, if it's something we don't want to hear, all we're doing is formulating a response
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
our brain, which means that we're not present, right? So it's like we're not there. We're somewhere else already defending something. And so that's where the O comes in, right? To observe. Observe what is happening in your body. Observe those
Mm.
narratives that you're having in your head, right? Observe how it's like, all right, why am I activating? It's like, and think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to self regulate, be able to self regulate in that
Yeah.
place, to always come from this place of heart, heart, where compassion, empathy, understanding, peace, right? It's like all of those things that we want in order to have these conversations, resilience, right? That's where I feel the heart part comes in. So then that way we can adapt.
Mm.
Final A in aloha is adapt. Adapt
Mm.
our thinking, adapt the way that we're communicating with each other, adapt the thoughts, right? And it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of practice to get there. And one thing that I want to share is that when I have these epiphanies, when I have these things, coming up where, birthing the guiding principles of aloha, it's not something that is just I'm writing it down. I'm doing this because
Mm-hmm.
I'm living it. I can't talk about anything if I don't know what it does to my body, what it does to my nervous system,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I have to be very self aware.
How did you come to develop this? Like, I'm curious about your trajectory because I know we didn't talk about it in your bio, but you are a military veteran, right? And you have other experience sitting in very important places that we're not going to give breath to. How did you realize that you needed this kind of training? Because no one comes out of the womb like, I am a perfect meditating Buddha and know how to be, chill with everyone. So how
Right.
how did you develop this?
Ooh, through pain, through lots of tears, right? It's like
Yeah.
was a lot of tears, a lot of learning. So when I was working on my dissertation, there was a lot of things that was happening in our country and the reason
Mm,
why DEI became such a thing in our
mm,
society. And, it's like I also was in this place where I started to decolonize or work on decolonizing myself, which
okay, I'm going to
meant
pause
that
you there because we want to know what is that. I know what that means, but if you're not super into what would I even call this, like social justice and civics, if you don't
right.
listen a lot to this kind of language, please pause and tell us what decolonizing yourself means because not everyone's going to know.
Right. So in a colonized world, everything I feel, and this is just my perspective, right? Everyone has their different ideas on what it means. So this is just one part of it. And the way that I think of colonization is the consumption, right? The power, the eradication of the superiority, right? Colonization is all of these things where people can come in and just rip out cultures, just remove people from their cultures, from their language, from all of those things. And I
Mm,
played into that, and I played into that very, very well. When I left Hawaii and I moved to the continent, I thought I was better than everybody else because I left. I left the projects where I lived. I left being poor. I left doing this. And if I can pull myself up by my bootstraps, and so can everybody else. That's the attitude that I had, right? That's the attitude that I had.
Yeah. And let's talk about how pulling oneself up by one's bootstraps, the origin of that phrase is to say something that is impossible to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, please continue.
Yeah. And it's not that it's impossible. It's just that there's no access to it because there's other people that feel that certain people can have these access. So it's possible if we were able to think differently about it. But anyway, so the decolonization part of it was I needed to figure out who I was. And there were these angels, and I call them my angels because it's these moments where I met up with certain people. So one of the first time that I was met with the question of my identity and who I was by Dr. Sayumi Irie. And she came because I was doing this retreat over at the Whidbey Institute. And I thought it was great. You know, I was talking about heart math and, you know, I was talking about a lot of things that was the heart work and everything like that. And she, later on in that weekend, we met and we were sitting outside and she said, I came here because I wanted to hear you. And I was like, okay, well, you were here all weekend and I was talking. So I think you heard me.
And she's like,
right?
no.
She's like, no, what I heard was you regurgitating what the white man taught you. I didn't hear anything about where you're from, your lands, your people. And I was like, whoa,
Wow.
whoa. I didn't know
Called
how to
out.
take that, right? I didn't know how to take that. But it hit me in a way like where I just had to it was like my breath was taken away in that moment. I was like, whoa. And I just had to, I told her, I was like, I'm going to have to sit with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to sit with that because it was like, what was that? And then another incident was a good friend of mine. I went back home and it was like a class reunion or I don't know what it was, but it was one of those. And I went back with all of my classmates. And I think I was working on my master's at that time. And when I went back home, somebody told me that I talked like I was Howley and that I was,
oh, dang.
Yeah. And that I talked as if I was above everybody else. And so, you know, it's like I was told, you go to the continent and you speak your language, you get your education and all of this other kind of stuff. And, you know, you're talking all of these big words that we don't understand. And when you come home, you don't talk to us. You talk down to us. But you know what, sis? We know where you came from. Do you remember where you're from? That was like another punch in the gut. I was like, oh. So here I am thinking that I'm a great leader. I am getting my education. I'm doing all of these things. I'm making stuff happen.
I succeeded. I
succeeded.
kicked the dust off of my feet.
Yes, exactly.
But I actually kicked away everything that
makes me me. Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
So that's what decolonizing is to start to grapple
Yes.
with the way that you have been pulled away from your culture.
Absolutely. And in this process, I also, right, because it's layered, life is so layered. There's so many things happening to you all at once, right? It's like, and so George Floyd happens. Yeah. And all of these things started to come up. And I am married to a 6'2", blonde hair, blue-eyed, white guy.
Okay.
And during that time, I looked at him and I was like, ugh. You are everything I want to dismantle in this world.
Oh, no.
And there was tension. There was tension in our marriage that we've never experienced before. And, you know, it's like he would walk in and I would be like, here you are, trying to colonize my space. Colonizer, right? I would call him the colonizer. I'd call him the white guy. It was bad. We slept in separate rooms for almost a year because we just could not see eye to eye. Also during that time, Moana just came out. And,
Moana.
I was like, whoa, all right, Disney, finally you did something almost right. Right? And so, and I was telling my grandson about, these are your ancestors. Your
Yeah.
ancestors were able to navigate the largest body of water on earth. They were in
Mm.
such close relationship with the stars that they had names for every single one of them. They were
Mm.
in relationship with everything around them and the people and the divine. And so, it's like he was so happy. Like he was like, Jima, wow. So if Moana is your people and I'm your grandson, does that make Moana my people? And I'm
Hmm.
like, yes, right? Bringing out that pride in that 8-year-old little boy, right?
Yeah.
He's like, whoa, I am cool. Well, my husband is going through HBO and he comes across Vikings. And
Oh.
he's like talking about how Vikings is his people and what
Mm.
they did and how they traversed the snow and they could all do all of these things. And so my grandson was like, wait a minute, Papa, if the Vikings are your people and I'm your grandson, does that make the Vikings my people? And so, here he is like looking at all of these things on his identity, right? The words that was coming out of my mouth was shaping my grandson's identity.
Yeah. Hey, quick pause. If you've been listening to Lonely at the Top and something's landed, a story, a line, a moment that hit different, I want to hear about it. Feedback shapes where my show goes, and I read every message. If what you're carrying right now is bigger than a comment, if there's a pattern that you're ready to get out of, a decision that feels like you're stuck in it, or a version of yourself you're ready to leave behind, I'm opening a limited number of discounted magic sessions for listeners this month. One session, Real Movement. The link is in the show notes. Come find out what's actually possible when someone sees to the heart of what's going on and can help you get out. That's it. Back to the episode.
And the next week he comes over. And now, it's like, remember, I'm in this space where my husband's the colonizer as well, too. So my grandson comes over one week and I go for give him a hug and he just stiffens up, Rachel, like he was so scared of
Mm.
me. He was so
Oh.
scared. And I was like, whoa, whoa, grandson, what's going on? What's happening? And he looks at me and he goes, Gma, you said that Moana's my people because they're your people. And I'm like, yep. And he goes, and Vikings is my people because there's Papa's people. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, where's this coming from? He's like, well, Gma, I hear you say things about people that look like Papa, and it's not very nice. So, Gma, which part of me do you not love?
He literally said that?
And my husband was listening.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My husband heard
Mm.
everything. And he was like, this is what's going to take for her to break. Right.
Yeah.
And it did. And it broke me. And it broke me so hard to where it's like, as I was picking up the pieces, I needed to reflect on every single shard that I was picking up and asking myself if my words is having my grandson figure out what his identity is, what the fuck am I
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I doing? And this is not aloha. This is not
Mm.
aloha. And so in order to get to that place, that's where I needed to ask questions. I needed to
Mm.
inquire. I needed to be curious about everything that was going on. And, having these kinds of conversations with my husband who walks around as this guy that he can't help who he is. That's who he was
Mm-hmm.
born to be, right? He's this white
Exactly.
guy. And
Yeah.
then I needed to listen. I needed to listen to him. And
Mm.
there were times where it's like, and I found in myself, right? I found in myself where he would say something and I would be like, I would react and I would have all of these things that I wanted to say because I wanted to be right. And so,
Mm.
I wasn't really listening. So I had
Mm.
to get to this place where I had to be like, take a breath, regulate. That's where the heart math came in, right? I am a certified trainer. with the Institute of Heart Math, right? Building people's capacity to be resilient. And in order to do that, I needed to do that for myself.
Physician heal thyself, right? That's how you know a great therapist or coach or consultant is somebody who does their own work, because none of us are immune. All of us have stuff that shows up for us.
Right.
So when you say regulate, I'm going to define that a little bit for the audience, because again, you and I are in the industry, so we have our jargon and we know what we're talking about. I actually trained one of my clients to do this. I had him get a friend to like co-regulate with, where they would hold each other and then like do the breathing with each other. My definition, like up for a lay person, and please feel free to add or correct me since you are a specialist specifically in this, is to be able to work with your brain, your heart, and your nervous system to get from a state of being dysregulated, or like, you know, when your heart rate raises, you're sweaty or you're flush, you're not thinking as well, you're in some kind of brain fog or panic or manicness, high anxiety. None of those are regulated states. Those are dysregulated states where your nervous system is saying there's a threat, and so we need to be on emergency systems, which means fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, none of which are a place of thoughtfulness, discernment, or diplomacy, where we can make really healthy, nuanced, well-considered decisions. So to be regulated is to get your body back into a place where it no longer feels there's an emergency and can be more calm.
Absolutely. And you've got to live that as well, too. You've got to mirror it, right? Because the energies, the frequencies are in sync, especially when you're in close proximity of each other. And so, you know, it's like a dysregulated nervous system is allowing all of that cortisol to just dump into your bloodstream. And when that happens, cognitive dissonance, where it's like you want to just protect, right? You want to fight, you want to stand for it. It's like, no, nothing is going to get past you at all. And that's yes, absolutely dysregulated.
Yeah.
And
I recently had to support my spouse during a group function. We had a weekend retreat with some friends, and some things happened and he got pretty upset, and it needed to be resolved in the group. And usually he gets to take time when he's upset and kind of go and regulate himself and get into a place where he can have a conversation. But we did not have time. So I was like, okay, let me come up and like I had to stay regulated, right? Because I can have my thoughts of what should happen and how things need to be resolved and who should say what and who should have done what. And it doesn't matter.
right.
Like I can't control what happens, but I can be a regulated presence in the middle of other people being upset and dysregulated. That's what I can do. And I believe what heart math shows us is that a regulated heart, the frequency broadcasts and can help others to get regulated. Is that accurate?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's like I had the opportunity to actually practice this, right? It's like I practiced this as being a oral historian for the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition. And so as an oral historian, I would be listening to stories of elders who experience the Indian boarding schools. And, you know, it's like some of those stories, they will activate you.
They'll mess you up.
They will, they definitely will. And, you know, it's like in the beginning, you know, it's like you can get all of this knowledge, right? It's like getting all of these certificates and everything like that. That's just knowledge. That's, you know, it's like you have not embodied it until you actually experience it.
100%.
And so it's like, so the first time, one of my first stories as an oral historian, I fell into the person's story. And when I fell into the story, I started crying. I became dysregulated. And, you know, and it's like, I'm like bawling where she stopped talking about her story. So
and had to take care of you.
Oh, in that moment, yep. She had to take
Yeah.
care of me.
Yeah.
She was worried about me. And that whole interview no longer became about her. It became about me.
Yeah.
Right. And I was
Yep.
like, oh, okay, hold up here. Oh, wait a minute. This is what it means. And
Yeah.
so now when, it's like when they come in and they sit with me in the interview room, you can see and you can feel where there's tension, right? Their shoulders are up, their hands are stiff. And so without even saying anything, right, I would just sit there for a moment and I would breathe. And as I'm breathing, taking deep breaths, their breath becomes in sync with mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I know that we can start. Right. And so, yeah, it's so imagine when we're having these kinds of conversations, right? Especially, the complexity of some of the conversations we can have. I think coming to this place of heart and understanding the depth of it on what it takes will allow us to adapt, right? The final A in Aloha. Adapt our way of thinking, adapt our process, adapt
Mm-hmm.
to what's going on. It's like yeah, so that's how Aloha started, was because of everything that was going on in this world, what I was going through, the pain that I've caused, and taking accountability for it, which taking accountability for things, it's not easy to do,
It is not
but
for
it
the faint
is.
of heart. It is a brave
It's,
thing to do. Yeah.
yeah. And it's, and oh, that's hard.
It is, but that's what true leadership requires.
Yeah,
You get to take some level of credit for the good things, and you have to also take credit for the mistakes,
right.
like,
Exactly.
yeah.
And also knowing that you are not in this canoe alone. It's like
Mm-hmm.
whenever I think about leadership, I think of wayfinding, right? Is that here we are, the organization, the metaphor for the canoe is the organization. Everyone comes in every single day, they board the canoe. And it's like, if you don't know who's in the canoe and you live in these silos of all of these different departments and everything like that, how do you know
Mm-hmm.
you can trust each other? How do
Everybody's
you know how
rowing
you
at
can
different
trust each other?
paces in different
Exactly.
directions. Yeah.
Right. And you as a leader is like, whoa, where are we going? This is the direction.
I know you have so much more wisdom to share, and I'm gonna bring us to your balance sheet of burdens, if that's okay. Because at the top, no one sees your balance sheet of burdens, but people listening to this interview probably know. They can just tell from listening to you that you have some great wisdom to share from your background. So I'm going to ask you three things from that private ledger. One is, what's one cost you paid for being in leadership?
Good question. Something that I've actually been reflecting on the past couple of months. It's like thinking about what it means to be a leader. And I feel that the traditional, or what people see as leaders today, or maybe the perspective of what leadership is, it took a toll on me, right?
Mm.
Emotionally, relationally, physically. Because for years, I spent years believing that my capacity to carry something meant that I was responsible for everything that happened because I
Mm.
was carrying it,
Oh boy.
right?
Yeah, I'm responsible for the world thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that'll wear you out.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a different type of leadership that doesn't power over people, but empower people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're with people. And it's like for the first time, and I do have to give a shout out to NABS, right? To the
Mm.
organization that I'm working for right now, National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition. This is the first time in my career that I know what a true leader looks like.
Oh wow.
I'm able to work with every single person that I work with every day when I go into work or we have meetings or whatever it is, because we're all remote. But whenever we are together, it feels like coming home. That's what it
Mm.
feels like. We also know what the goal is, right? The goal is to bring truth, justice, and healing. And every single one of us, we also understand what it means, like you were saying earlier, to do the work. So when you have everyone doing the work, so then that way we can move forward, everyone understands and knows the direction. And we have a leader there that is not just standing above us, but she's rowing the canoe with us as well too. Right? It's like everything is in sync. And we're able to provide the space for healing to occur because of every single person that is part of that organization. Every organization should look at NABs, and they should use NABs as the model for how they would want their organizations to look, because it's always about relationship first. It's about relationship first. And, you know, it's like we have leaders that when there are things going on around our country, in our world, and we're in a meeting, they will pretty much say, we're not going to play around here. We know that what's affecting you outside is affecting you here. They don't ask you to leave your problems at the door. They're like, hey, how can I help you with this? Right? It's like if there's somebody that is feeling sick or not feeling well, they're not going to hand the EAP. Here's your employee assistant program. Good luck with it. Right? That's not the way it is. It's like they genuinely care for one another. Genuinely care for one another. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's the first time that I feel that.
I am so glad that you get to have that experience because you get to even more emulate that. I love that. Okay, tell us one invisible asset that you didn't realize you had at the time.
My ability to listen. My ability to observe. Not only listen to people, but to observe patterns as well, too. Yeah.
It is so much more valuable than people realize.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Yep.
And tell us one investment you're making now for your well-being or your soul.
You know, like I said earlier, right, is being intentional where my energy goes. That is a big investment. I feel that, you know, boundaries are aloha, right? You know, it's like that is something that people should have and to be respected as well, too. And I think I'm going to, or actually working on investing more in being present.
What does that look like?
Sometimes I can find myself, even in my close relationships, right? Is that when I'm at the dinner table or I'm around people, I'm like,
oh, on the phone. Yeah, for those who can't see what's going on.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I'm on the phone. Wait, what? Or, you know, meeting up with a person and, you know, not being there, being somewhere else. Or even sometimes like when I'm together with people and then we start talking about another person that's not there. I'm like, whoa, that person got a lot of our time. It's like, we didn't even have time with each other.
Oh, man. Yeah. I hear you. I try to hold to the thing that I learned in graduate school for therapy, which is I will only talk about other people in the negative when I am processing what I need to do to get right with the situation. That's what I try to do. Not always perfect at it, but that's my goal.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. I have two more questions before we wrap up. One is, what do you wish more leaders felt permission to say out loud?
I don't know, but let me find out.
Yep. That is such a frequent answer, and it makes me think that leaders across everywhere are doing a really poor job at allowing themselves to be vulnerable enough to say, I don't know all the answers. Like, right. Yeah, it's really
they have
okay
an
to
idea.
say this, guys.
They have an idea that being a leader means that you know everything, right?
Yeah,
being
and
a
to
leader
admit that you
means...
don't means you're not
Yes.
powerful or you're not to be
Exactly.
respected or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. People respect honesty. People respect when something's real. So I confirm that it's okay if you're out there leading to say, I don't know that right now, but I'm going to go find out. Or we're going to figure it out together. Right?
Exactly. What are your thoughts on it, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Let's co-create a solution here.
There you go.
That's what a leader does, right? A leader is
Yeah.
like, all right, I get this. How do we make this happen? Right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there is knowledge and power within the whole and not just one part, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it takes every single person in that canoe in order to go where you want to go.
Okay, before I ask you the last question, I would love to know if people want to hear more about ALOHA and wayfinding and you, how would they get in touch with you? How would they learn more?
Well, they can go onto my website, which is co3 consulting.net, or they can contact me at Gerry at co3consulting.net. I'm on LinkedIn as well too, Gerry Ebalaroza-Tunnell, and yeah, the socials.
The socials. All right. Well, we'll put those in the show notes so people have them.
Yes.
Yeah. And the last question is the time machine question. So we open the doors of the time machine. Whoosh. If you could go back in time, what would you say to yourself earlier in your career?
I like that question because it really gives me the opportunity to reflect on the younger me, the me that was making all of these decisions and saying yes to everything and wanting to be the best. And, it's like causing harm in the midst of it as well too, right? I think I would tell her that you don't have to earn your worth by how much you can carry. You're worthy, right? Not every problem is yours to solve. Not every person is yours to save. And not every room deserves your energy or your aloha. So
Yep, that's it. We're going to cut it and print it. That is excellent advice, not just for the younger Dr. G, but for all of us. Gerry, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
absolutely, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me. Aloha, everyone.
Thanks for taking a moment to tune in with me today, and thanks for listening to Lonely at the Top. If this conversation resonated today, I hope you'll give yourself permission to pause and check in with what you might be carrying, because you don't have to hold it all alone. I am an executive coach who works with spiritually inclined powerhouses, especially those who want to clean up difficult relationships and other secret messes. You can learn more at rachelalexandria.com. If you know another leader who needs to hear this show, please send it their way. Because yeah, it's lonely at the top, but it doesn't have to stay that way.